A little about the Camarillo Chamber of Commerce. It's an organization made up of businesses in this community, whether in the city of Camarillo and throughout, and our mission is to promote and enhance the business and community environment. And the school district obviously is very important to the current success and the future of our community, and that's why the Chamber has asked you to be here and participate in this forum. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Chamber and the community for you to be here. So at this point, just to let you know, for those people that are in the audience or watching it at home on television, it is a random drawing for your order. And so we're going to start going left to my left to my right, and then we will alternate the questions thereafter. All right? And then as we close, I will go from my right to my left in order for the closing statement. So Mr. Harwood, you're going to go first in your opening statement. So if I can ask for your opening statement within 2 minutes. Thank you.
My wife, Cheryl, and I have been residents in Camarillo since 1994, and we're both credentialed teachers, so education is our business here. And we have been, for the past 14 years, in various schools in the Ventura County area. Since I was elected in 2008, some of the policies that I've supported include closing no neighborhood schools. There was a flurry of school closings, which I think concerned the community, and one of my pledges was to work to maintain neighborhood schools. We also have had no new taxes, no new assessments, no new bond issues. We recognize there's been a serious recession here and throughout the nation, and our job is to do with what we have and not be an extra burden on the homeowners, the residents, and the taxpayers, and continue operating a quality school district. I think we've done that. Our policy is to budget funds we can count on. We're not counting on the passage of Proposition 30 and 36. However, it's actually 38. Both of those would benefit school budgets. But we have come up with a budget that does not anticipate the revenue that would come from either or both of, well, actually it would be either of those propositions. So we've done this with no layoffs, no labor strife, and I think we've met the responsibility we have to the community, and we're doing a quality job for Camarillo.
Thank you. Ms. Suzanne Kitchens.
Good evening. I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for facilitating this evening. A little background on who I am. I'm married, and I'm a mother of 3 adults, all educated, kindergarten through 8th in the Pleasant Valley School District. I own a small business here in the city, and I'm a member of the local Chamber of Commerce. I believe these are some of the qualities you might find in a good trustee. I assure you, not the only qualities. First quality, I will focus on serving the needs of all children. I advocate for all of our students at the city, county, and state level as your trustee. Second quality, I have a broad background of experience and knowledge. I have both experience as a parent volunteer and as a current trustee, and believe both are valuable qualities. In addition, as a small business owner with a background in finance, I think this is another practical quality in dealing with the complexities of the role of the trustee. Third quality, I am willing to invest the time and energy needed to be effective in this role. In addition, a final quality of a good trustee, I think, is to understand the needs of today's students. I'm currently reading the State Superintendent's Greatness by Design, which is the task force on educator excellence. So I'm hoping our board will start the discussion of how we can focus in the coming years to ensure that our students of today can face all those challenges for the world of tomorrow. What will be my focus in the remaining months of my current term, and hopefully the continuation into another term? Immediately convene with the board November 7th to see whatever the election November 6th holds for our Pleasant Valley School District. Complete the facilities plan for our district, which will help us in guiding us into the future with our students. come together as a board with a plan on what to do with our interim superintendent, and also to make sure we have a permanent chief business official. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly Long.
Hello, thank you very much. Gotta have the mic on.
Yes.
I'm new at this. I gotta get the mic on. Thank you very much for having this forum and inviting us here to talk to you all. My name is Kelly Long, and I have a vested interest in our kids' education. I have 2 kids in the Pleasant Valley School District, and I am so passionate about education. It's just exciting to me to see the kids on campus and talking to the parents and the teachers and the staff members. It motivates me to get more involved. I'm an engineer by trade. I went to school at California State University Long Beach, where I've worked in the city as an engineer all the way up to Director of Sales and Marketing for an orthopedic company. I currently work as a product management consultant, and I also focus on my kids and their education by being completely involved in our school, in the PTA boards at a school level and also a district level. And I'm just so excited to be here and to be able to tell everyone about the education and how we should really focus on it. What else? There's so much to say. Anyways, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I am extremely passionate about the education, and I can't wait for November 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to get into the questions, and we're going to have 5 questions. Again, you're each going to have 1.5 minutes to answer those questions. So, Mr. Harwood, I'll start with you with the first question. The enrollment for the district has stayed relatively steady over the past few years. At the same time, the state budget for the K-12 education has seen drastic reductions in recent years. The current 2012-2013 state budget has an increase from the prior year, but the allotment for education is contingent on the passage of the governor's proposed tax increases, and I know there's been some comments already on the initiatives. It's also, this is Prop 30. Polling results in recent weeks indicate that Prop 30 is favored slightly more than 50% of the voters. However, if it does not pass, there will be trigger reduction in funding for K-12 and education of more than 10% or perhaps as much as 20%. So there's 2 parts to this question. First, do you support Prop 30? Second, if Prop 30 is not successful and you are elected to the board or re-elected, what steps, if any, would you implement to meet any budget caps to minimize the impact on our children? To quote an administrator in the district, to keep those cuts as far away from the classroom as possible. Mr. Harwood.
Well, I think the first thing that I would not do is propose any new taxes, overrides, or bond issues. I believe that we have a responsibility to do our best with what we have during this difficult period. And I think we're one of the only districts around that doesn't have a bond issue or a special measure to raise money for something. I really feel that that's what the community expects of us. I think we've done it well to this point. I think if we have to go on beyond this election, we can do it. And I think we're prepared with the budget we have, not relying on additional funds from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kitchens.
First of all, as a seated board member, we did actually pass a resolution that supported both of the initiatives. The reason we did that was to make sure that the community understood we have to pass something, and even if we pass one of the propositions, we will basically still be right where we are. So the second part of that question is into the future, even if it does pass or it doesn't pass. The same thing I answered to the teachers earlier today. This community is a very good community in one respect. We care about our young people. So it may come to a point where, as a community, we have to make some serious choices going forward for this community, regardless of what the state is doing, because the state is not stable. So I would say depending on the outcome. We had already agreed to sit down with all the people affected by our decisions as voters November 7th. So I think from that discussion should come some of the things that we can do to do the best we can. But as a side note, I'm tired of going to legislators to explain to them it's not okay to just keep trying to do more with less. So I will continue to champion as a sitting trustee to legislate and do better in that respect. But I think it's time for our community to understand how bad it is, and maybe as a community we can come up with a better answer. So that's really the only answer I have.
All right, thank you. Ms. Long.
Okay, well, I was going to some training that I had for the school boards for the county. I was told that some schools are budgeting with those bills passing, and that scared me very much. I was very proud to find out that the Pleasant Valley School District budgeted without those bills passing, so that our kids are safe, our teachers are safe, and that we are good for the budget for this year. I do believe no matter if those bills pass or not, we should create a budget committee to make sure that we go line by line and make sure we are budgeted for the next year and that we can protect our teachers and our students to get the best education for the kids. Because ultimately, our budget, we have to educate our kids, and that's the most important thing. So to get within budget, I think, is very important, and I think a committee would be very good for that.
All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Kitchens, I'll start with you on the second question. And I think at the last forum I also mentioned this, but it's something that I'm proud of. The Pleasant Valley School District is one of the oldest existing school districts in Ventura County. It was started in 1868 by John Mahan, a parent of 3 school-aged children. Coincidentally, I'm a parent of 3 school-aged children in this district. So the Mahans were concerned about education for their children when they were required to travel outside this area. For over 100 years now, parents in the community have been concerned about the quality of education provided to our children. The district has been successful in large part due to the great faculty and staff that we have, but also in large part to the ongoing parent involvement in the schools. What is or has been your experience or involvement with the Pleasant Valley School District or one of its schools? And as an incumbent, I think that's an obvious answer, but what schools do or have your children attended? And what is or was your parent involvement in those schools? And if you have no experience, do you believe that this is a necessary prerequisite to serve as a trustee? And I'm specifically talking to the Pleasant Valley School District.
Correct. Actually, I have 30 years of experience with Pleasant Valley School District. I started with El Rancho, which is no longer one of our schools. It became something else. So for 30 years, more than 30 years, I've been an active parent volunteer for Pleasant Valley School District. I was a school site president at one of our local schools. I was also the PTA council president. So I pretty much have filled every chair as a parent volunteer, and I worked on district projects before I became a trustee. So I worked on their technology plan, and there were various district plans that I worked with. So in terms of my involvement with the schools, because I am a business owner, our public education has to be bright, and I will do what I have to do to get the voices heard for what we need to the best of my ability, because the future is where our students have to be, and we have to give them the best tools possible. So that's pretty much where all of my experience is with Pleasant Valley School District for 30 years and 12 years as a trustee.
Thank you. Ms. Long.
Oh, I love this question. Thank you. I get to talk about my kids. Okay, so basically I got involved with La Mariposa because of the budget committees. There was a budget committee, and I got excited. I know budgets. I have consolidated. I've done cost savings. All you want to do about businesses, I've done. And I got in there, and I liked getting into the numbers and really the line items. Then I had my teacher, Mrs. Elliott, Chris Elliott, come to me and say, Kelly, I need you to build some garden boxes. So I built 17 garden boxes at the school with a committee of Boy Scouts and all sorts of other parents and community members. And then we talk about the food for the schools, and I've worked with Sodexo to get them in so we don't have 1,500 calorie food items. I've been on the PTA board there for 4 years. Currently, I run the Jogathon there, where we've raised $54,000 for our programs and technology improvements. Then I also do the gardens and the tap room to support our teachers to make sure they're focusing on our education. I'm also on the CAM Council for the PTA, and we're talking about the wellness programs and the health of our kids. I'm very active. I'm the type of person that doesn't sit still, and so you need help, I'm there. And I've been to the board meetings. People have said, you need to go, Kelly, I'm there. I'm here today for the same reason.
Thank you. Mr. Harwood, same question.
Yes, our daughter attended Dos Caminos beginning in about 1994 and completed her seemed to me it was 3 years at Los Altos Intermediate School. After that, went on to Camarillo High School. I worked in the district as a substitute teacher prior and immediately prior to being elected to the school board. It's not compatible to continue working and governing, so I have not had any role but as a member of the Board of Trustees since 2008.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Long, I'll start with you on this question. Recently, well, I've had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Luis Villegas for some time. He's a great superintendent, and he's, after 5 years has stepped down, and currently we have another great individual serving us as an interim superintendent, Rayanne Michael, and I think she's just a great individual and a good leader for this district. We're going to need to elect another superintendent. Describe to us what you believe to be an ideal candidate for the role of the district CEO. Ms. Long, I'll start with you.
I've had the pleasure of meeting and knowing Rayanne Michaels. We just went through a training for the school board. I believe that a person that's going to be in the superintendent's role has experience with being a teacher and with a principal and working with the staff, the certified and classified staff members to ensure that the business is taken care of. And the business that's being taken care of is our kids. We need someone that is open to work with the community, open to work with the businesses and the volunteers in the area to ensure that we get the best education for our kids.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Harwood, I'll come over to you with the same question.
Yes, I think we've already got the superintendent for the district. Rayanne Michaels has worked in the district over 30 years, and she's held all the positions that you said as criteria. I opposed a broad search that was to begin rather quickly for a new superintendent. We had people here within our staff, on our cabinet, leaders in our district that have filled in very adequately. We've paid no relocation allowances. We've got quality people doing a quality job, and I am confident that they'll continue to do so. That's my position.
Thank you. Mr. Harwood, I'm going to come back to you for this next question.
Sure.
In the past, the relationship... I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. I apologize, Ms. Kitchens. Your turn.
Okay, and since there was the interruption, I want to make sure I answer your question.
No, please do.
Could you repeat it, please, for me?
Yes. The district is going to need to re-elect or to select a superintendent. And describe to us what you believe to be an ideal candidate for the role of the district CEO.
I think for a leader, they have to have the trust of the people they work with. I think more than anything, if you have a good communication style that allows for a lot of collaboration and a lot of innovation, just that trust and that communication factor, and a good leader actually, I mean, for what we're talking about, has to have a love of those kids. And so to me, those are the qualities I look for in a superintendent, where their focus is, how they communicate with those who are there around, and their vision. They have to be able to show you their vision of what they see for those students as they move in, and then allow you the ability within your circles, your collaboration with your teachers. But a strong curriculum and a strong business background are just, I think, essential. I don't think there's any way today you can work without having those two skills in particular. The rest, I think, you can kind of have another way of learning as you go. But those are the two, I think, the strongest two.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So again, I apologize to Mr. Harwood. In the past, the relationship with the district and the Pleasant Valley Education Association, the teachers union, has been less than ideal. And in the past, we've already talked about the budget cuts and some of the stresses on class size. The teachers have been asked to do more with less. But they still continue to provide a high level of education. Our scores are still very good. And so they're receiving the same level of education that they've traditionally received. How do you currently rate the relationship between the teachers and the administration? And if elected or re-elected, what steps do you believe are needed to either improve or stabilize this relationship?
I believe that the teachers have benefited by and appreciated the stability that we've had on this board during the last several years. We have stood by our commitments to eliminate pink slips as much as possible. This year, I believe we had no pink slips for teachers. I think there is a confidence level that has been built up, and I think the appointment of Rayanne Michaels showed the teachers that we're going to see through this difficult time together and kind of watch each other's back. So I think it's a team approach. I think we have good relations and will maintain good relations, and we need to maintain stability of the district, and we have accomplished that in recent times.
Thank you. Ms. Kitchen, same question.
Yes, I mean, we are a proud district. We are an 862 plus district. It's unheard of, and I'm very proud of our district. But as the mother of a public high school teacher, I know what it takes to have those kinds of scores when everything around you has eroded in terms of the support within the classroom, the materials in the classroom, and the classes have gotten larger. So I think for me, I think we're at a good point with the teachers. I think we ended on a good note with our negotiations. We will reconvene November 7th, and I think the communication currently is in a good place. One of, I think, the constraints for the teachers and the board alike, unless we're in this forum, we really can't talk about those things that are important to those teachers except in this forum. It's just we're precluded because if more than two of us talk to them. So one of the problems with that is unless we're in a forum like this where we can actually figure out what's going to happen November 7th, we're in a good position right now with our teachers. We are talking, and I think part of it is the change in leadership has meant a lot to the teachers. I'm not speaking for them, but I've seen the change. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we have a good communication going, even though we're going to face a really tough year regardless of the outcome. I'm hopeful. I think we as a board, the administration and the teachers and the rest of the staff will sit down and we'll make the tough choices we're going to have to make, and I'm not sure what they'll be because I'm only one of 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Long.
Hi. Okay, I think we have an amazing staff. They're dedicated, they're there for the kids, they're putting out the extra effort that we have asked them to do. I think we need to keep it going, and I think we need to keep them motivated. I love that Chamber of Commerce celebrates this Educator of the Month, Educator of the Year. I think we need to celebrate with our parents, really get those volunteers in there. I mean, every study that you hear is that if it takes a community to raise our kids, and that is in our schools too. And really support those teachers with all of the parental involvement in the schools. Coming from a school that has a lot of parent involvement, you see the success and you see the excitement that teachers give and the kids. It's a great energy, and I think we need to keep that up. If we can introduce some other ways of celebrating our staff's accomplishments and really give them the skylight, what am I trying to say? The light to shine on them, I think is really good, because we really do need to keep them motivated, and if we can't do it with salary, we have to be creative in what we can do.
Thank you. Mr. Harwood. I'm sorry, I already went to you. Everybody answer the question? I'm losing track of it. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes, if we,
Yeah.
repeat any question that's pending,
No,
I'll be
yeah, I
happy to
will.
answer it.
But, so I'm going to the next question. But this is going to be for Ms. Kitchens, actually, to start off.
Okay, good.
All right. Speak up a little bit? Okay. Okay. In addition to the excellent faculty, we've already mentioned that, the staff and the administration of the district, the Pleasant Valley School District has been successful to some extent because of the involvement of the parents, and there's been some comments about that, and the community. What is your best idea for improving the education and experience of students in the Pleasant Valley School District, and what role does a parent play in your idea or your plan?
Okay, first of all, as the parent of adults, I know that more than anything, a parent's commitment to those children that they are trying to raise is the most important key in terms of when they reach school age and then beyond, because it is that link for them as they move into the real world. That's just what the statistics will always show. Beyond that, I think it's what I alluded to earlier. I appreciate the strong community involvement, and I think if times do become more difficult, even though the economic situation is what it is, I am asking for help. I am asking our community that stands to benefit, whether you're a small business owner or anyone who, whether you have children or you don't have children. It rests with us to make sure that next generation gets what it needs. So for me, it's simply, besides the parent input, and yes, like all people who worked in our schools, I mean, I actually knew the Gestetner by name because they put the code in so I wouldn't forget it. I mean, all of us have done that. Anyone in here who's had students, whether it's at the high school level or kindergarten or wherever, you walk the walk, and I've done it for 3 decades. I appreciate the parents, and I am the one. Every meeting that we discuss how much is spent through volunteer time, and the volunteers, and they're many. I am proud, but the problem is it's going to get bleak for this year. I don't know where else to go except to see if our community of educators and our community as a whole, if we come together and find a creative way to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Long, same question.
Okay. Well, I'm a parent. I'm all for parent help, but also I want to make sure that our staff is going to be, they're working on the core curriculum that's going to be coming through, and our parents need to be involved in that and understand what it is and be able to, at home, help the teachers. We also have 21st technology that's out there that helps the teachers and helps the kids, and that's the parent involvement. And then we also need to increase communication. I think in communication between the schools, communication between the board and the schools and the parents, to really ensure that we have a good education, I think is very important.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Harwood.
I feel part of the challenge of the year or years to come is to involve our staff and the parents and the board in a communication and collaborative effort. And I don't want to focus on the revenues with that regard. I really feel that our job is to continue what we've been doing the last several years, and that is working with what resources we have and achieving efficiencies. We recently acquired, they're manufactured school rooms that were surplus from another school district in Orange County. We acquired them for $1 each, and with the refurbishing of them, we'll have $85,000 school rooms, these manufactured rooms, at a price of something under $35,000. We're finding ways to preserve our revenue sources and do with less, and I think we're going to have to focus on that and not go to parents for more funds at this time.
Thank you. So that concludes the questions, and so now it's time for the closing statements. And as we indicated, there's going to be a 2-minute closing statement time limit. And I'm going to start in reverse order this time. And so, Ms. Long, I'll ask you to start for your closing statement. 2 minutes.
Thank you. So as we know, I'm an engineer by heart, mechanical engineer, and I've worked my way up from an engineer to director of sales and marketing. I'm very business-minded, and I'm also education-minded. I am passionate for education, and I get my hands dirty. I roll up the sleeves and figure out the problems and get it done. I am very good at listening to those and understanding the problem, and as a group finding the solution. And I think that's something that we need for this board. I would like to concentrate on increasing our communication through our schools to make sure that the programs that are successful at one school can be successful at the other. Retired seniors, people living in this town that can help, and through tutoring and through after-school programs, even reading to the kids for 5 minutes is essential, especially K through 8. I mean, it's just so important. Then we also we're 21st century. We can't say we're not there because we're there. And we need to make sure that our computer labs are running to be able to teach our kids one class full. And to be able to reach those kids that can't learn one way or the other, you know, we need to be able to reach every kid and make sure they get the best education possible. So I'm not focused on politics. I'm not focused on anything else except for education. And that's my one point. And I just ask for your vote and your support on November 6th.
Thank you. Ms. Kitchens.
First, I would like to thank the Chamber again for hosting this evening. As a sitting trustee for the Pleasant Valley School District, it's up for you. You can decide for yourself if I've been successful in my role as your trustee. These are some of the professional governance standards for all school boards. Have I kept learning and achievement for all students as a primary focus? Do I value, support, and advocate for public education? Do I recognize and respect differences of perspective and style on the board and among staff, students, parents, and the community? Do I act with dignity and understand the implications of my demeanor and behavior? Do I keep confidential matters confidential? Do I participate in professional development and commit the time and energy necessary to be an informed and effective leader? Do I understand the authority rests with the board as a whole and not with individuals? In addition, how is our student achievement in the Pleasant Valley School District? What is the health of our budget? What is our financial condition? In addition, is there a continual progression of our programs and our goals, which is a complex undertaking? I will, if I am reelected, provide community leadership through my continued community involvement. I will, if reelected, continue to represent the interests of all children. I believe a team, whether it's an office environment, a sports competition, or a board of trustees, can only be as strong as its weakest link. And I intend to be the strong link for our board as we move forward into the new year. It is a continuing honor to serve as your trustee. As we face another difficult year for public education, I believe I am the right person to stand with our Pleasant Valley School District and our board to accept the challenge. Please remember to vote on November 6th. And yes, I would appreciate your vote for me, Suzanne Kitchens, Pleasant Valley School District trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harwood.
I've got a kind of a pet project going. I'm just absolutely committed to getting this high school going. You know, we're running a K through 8 school, but when the kids are done with 8th grade, there's no reason that they have to take buses out, you know, 7 or 8 miles into the area toward Oxnard to go to high school. Camarillo High School is at capacity, and we voted in 2000, and I guess it was 2003, to pass a bond issue, and it was passed, and the money is sitting there waiting, and there seems to be some something slowing the process down. I hear every once in a while petty reasons that we maybe shouldn't go ahead with the first phase of the second high school here in Camarillo. Well, I don't buy that for a minute. I think our responsibility is to get that second high school built with the $60 million that the Oxnard Union High School District has awaiting it. And as a trustee of this board, I'm going to use whatever influence that might give me to see if we can get that high school going. I believe this is an excellently run city. I think this is an excellently run school district. I kind of took issue with some of the comments that I heard in the first discussions, about how things were going here. And I think that re-electing some of us on the board would be probably a good move. I think we're getting the job done, and I would hope to continue my efforts on behalf of the Pleasant Valley School Board and the community.
Thank you. And again, thank you all for your time. I know we appreciate you being here on behalf of, again, the Chamber and the community, and again, expressing your points on certain key issues here that impact all of us. So again, thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.